Ever wish you could walk around inside of your favorite TV and movie homes? Well, on this channel, you can. Today we'll be exploring some of the homes from Gilmore Girls. Hi, I'm Marina Coates. I have a degree in architecture and an obsession with set design. Welcome to Behind the Scenes, where we get up close and personal with all your favorite TV and movie homes. Today we'll be touring homes from Gilmore Girls. You'll get to see views of the homes not possible on the show, with ceilings and all four walls. Let's get started. Luke's apartment. The sets changed a lot over the course of the series, so I had to pick a season and stick with it. I chose season 2 for the homes we'll be touring today. We'll start with Luke's apartment over the diner and begin with an overhead view to help us get our bearings. This is the entrance and the hallway outside. This is the kitchen and dining area. On this side is the living room and bedroom. In season 2, the bathroom was here, and this was the closet. One thing I noticed while creating this model is that the set designers used the actual shape of the exterior here to inform the design of the interior here. Very often, the exteriors of TV homes bear little resemblance to the interiors. What we now know as Luke's Diner was originally the site of his father's hardware store. When his father passed away, Luke converted it into the diner where so many iconic Gilmore scenes took place. The upstairs area of that building that eventually became Luke's apartment was previously used as his father's office in the hardware store. Let's look at how you get to Luke's apartment from the diner. The opening to the stairs is here behind this curtain. Here are some of the changes that took place in Luke's apartment over the course of the series. In season 1 and 2, this was the layout of the kitchen. Fridge here, stove here, and sink over here. There were 2 different fridges and stoves between season 1 and 2. Luke's bed began here and later moved to this position. Originally, the bathroom was here, but late in season 2, Luke buys the store next door and expands his apartment to make more room so he can better share the space with his nephew, Jess. Around that time is when the bathroom moves to this spot. And a recess for Jess's bed appears over here, and this wall is now closed off. This corner at first had a small card catalog, which is probably meant to be a leftover remnant of the old hardware office. Later, we see a much larger version there. The kitchen went through some changes too. Here are some of them. In early seasons, the kitchen counter stops at this window, and in later seasons after construction, it goes past the window. You'll also notice that both the refrigerator and the stove have now moved. There weren't many places for clothes, which makes sense with an office to apartment conversion like this. In this version of the apartment, there was only an armoire here and a coat closet here. As I modeled the apartment, I discovered that this version of the bathroom would have required a pocket door to make it work, so that's what you'll see in the upcoming tour. Some scenes that took place in Luke's apartment. One of Babette's gnomes goes missing, and Luke rightfully suspects that Jess took it and eventually finds it here. Lorelai gets to see Luke's apartment for the first time when his girlfriend takes her up there to show her some photos she took. Lorelai can barely contain her amusement at some of the features. And Luke blowing up an inflatable raft as a temporary bed for Jess, again much to Lorelai's amusement. We'll take a spin around Luke's apartment now. Be looking for Easter eggs in all of the tours you see today. Easter eggs are hidden references or jokes that fans of the show will recognize. I'll do an Easter egg reveal at the end of the tours so you can see if you got them all. Now it's time for the Easter egg reveal. Scott Patterson, who played Luke Dane, was a professional baseball player before he began his acting career. I put a picture of him from those days here. In the kitchen on the counter there was a bag of coffee, Scotty Peas, which is Scott's own brand of coffee that he sells in real life. And then there was Luke's pancake mix, sold at the Warner Brothers studio tour and online. I included a personal photo of Scott skiing taken from his Facebook page. And this one was tricky, so if you got this one, you get extra points. Scott Patterson did all of his own stunts and admired Buster Keaton for being a great stuntman, so I threw in a Buster Keaton photo here. The 25th anniversary of the show is coming up in September. There are a lot of events celebrating this occasion around the U.S. and even outside of the United States. Scott Patterson will be attending many of them. I'll put a link to the events below. We'll be exploring the main floor of Lorelai and Rory's house today. Here's an overhead view to help us orient ourselves. This was the entrance and the vestibule. There were 4 arches. 2 of them led into the living room, 1 into the hallway, and 1 was at the entrance into the kitchen. There was a closet here that was inferred to be a bathroom at one point in season 1. The living room was here, the kitchen was here, and Rory's room was here, right off of the kitchen. Rory's room. Rory's room had a bay window here with her desk underneath. Her bed was here. This wall had a couple dressers and a bookshelf. But we know that she also kept books under her bed and even stuffed them into her dresser drawers. That girl loved her books. We see travel posters all over her walls, another sign of where Rory's interests lie. Her room had no closet, just this armoire, which suggests that in this home's original floor plan, this room was not a bedroom. Scenes that took place in Rory's room. Rory giving her grandfather a little tour of her room when Emily sent the newly retired Richard off to spend the day with Rory and Lorelai to get him out of her hair. Richard, of course, was pleased seeing all of the books she had hidden in various places around her room. Jess getting his first glimpse of Rory. Lorelai, awakened too early by the noise Luke is making as he fixes her front porch railing, decides to wake Rory up to share in her early morning misery. And of course, the infamous scene when Lorelai observes Rory exiting her room early in the morning with a married Dean. We'll take a spin around Rory's room before heading on to the kitchen. The kitchen. For a family that rarely cooked, this kitchen had a nice setup and lots of room. The stove was here, the fridge here, and the sink along this wall. The kitchen table was right in the center. There was a large armoire here and built-in shelves here that were always loaded with piles of fabric from Lorelai's sewing projects. This door went to the backyard. Just outside the door, we see a trellis with ivy growing over it. The door opens out, which rarely happens with an exterior door in a real home, but happens fairly regularly on TV homes to allow for ease in filming. Basically, it doesn't get in the way. There are a few times when we see them exit the door here in the kitchen and then magically appear around the corner here when they come out, which in reality would mean they came out this door rather than this one. That's because the back side of Lorelai's home in real life on the studio lot was Suki's home. That's right, Suki's house is literally just the back side of Lorelai's house. 2 homes in one through the magic of TV. Some scenes that took place in the kitchen. Lorelai walking in and seeing Suki and Rory standing suspiciously rigid in front of the table, hiding a large wedding gift right after Lorelai called off her wedding with Max. Dean discovering that Jess has brought food over to Rory when she'd previously told him she couldn't meet up, and then Rory trying to explain the innocence of the gesture. And Lorelai's dream where she's married to Luke and he kisses her pregnant belly. We'll tour the kitchen now. Next up, the living room, before we go on to a tour of the whole main floor. The living room. As I mentioned in the beginning, there were 2 ways to enter the living room. Both were through arches. In this overhead view, you can see the 4 arches labeled. But to help you better understand how they lay out and to see how they lead into the different spaces, I made a tour of just a walk through those 4 arches so you can get a sense of the space. The production designer went to the trouble of creating this incredible feature, but then we rarely got to see much of it, just portions from time to time, but not how it all went together, and we didn't get to walk through it. Pretty sweet, right? Now you can't help but notice it more the next time you watch the show. The living room was a very large area, coming in at 690 square feet on its own. The fireplace was here with actual photos on the mantel of a young Alexis Bledel and Lauren Graham, who played Rory and Lorelai. Tucked under the stairs was a unique antique cabinet. Next to that was their TV. They watched a lot of shows together, often the same ones over and over again, yet they had a rather small TV set. In front of that area was this comfy chair with a table and lamp. And on this side of the fireplace there was a built-in cabinet, and we often saw a dress mannequin in front of it. In the entryway there was a folk art print called Young Boy with a Dog by Samuel Miller. So for the wall in the entryway that we never got to see on the show, I put a companion work by Samuel Miller titled Young Girl with Flowers. Here's a fun little blooper for you. In the screen grab that I showed you just a little bit ago, you can see a cameraman in the mirror. And of course, big fans of the show know that this clown pillow makes appearances regularly in various places about the room. Look for it in the tour today. As for the sofa looks comfy, but looks can be deceiving. The actors have stated that it was like sitting on bricks. Definitely not a comfy couch. One more thing. I wanted to give you a view of what it would look like from their perspective as they were coming down the stairs. So here's a shot of that view for you. Scenes that took place in the living room. Lorelai volunteering to help with a Stars Hollow rummage sale, with everyone's contributions filling up her living room. Kirk attempting to sell Lorelai and Max on him being their official photographer for their wedding, and presenting them with a rather unusual Kirk-like collection of photographs showcasing his work. And Lorelai inviting Dean over to watch movies and eat pizza with her and Rory, much to Rory's horror, since she and Dean weren't even a couple yet. Let's take a nice little tour of the living room now, and then after this, the entire main floor in one go-around. I'll be creating much more of Stars Hollow in the future, including Luke's Diner and Miss Patty's Dance Studio, which was also the gathering place for Stars Hollow town meetings. Let me know which other places you would like to see. A great site featuring facts about the Gilmore Girls' homes and businesses can be found on hookedonhouses.net, one of my absolute favorite sites. She's a super sleuth and a super fan, and you'll find lots of great stuff there. I'll put the link below. The upstairs. One of the mysteries of the home is that there appears to only be one bedroom upstairs, even though from the exterior it would seem that there could easily be room for more. We see Lorelai's bedroom up there, and there is a hall bathroom. In Season 3, when there's a fire at the Independence Inn, some of the guests come to stay at Lorelai's home. She puts them up in Rory's room, and when a second family arrives, she puts them up in her room. She then goes to Luke's to spend the night. And Rory stays at Lane's, so there are obviously only 2 bedrooms. And as for the bathrooms, in one episode we see Rory head this way saying she's going to the bathroom, which is on the main floor right here. So it's inferred that there is a bathroom there. In another episode, Lorelai refers to that as a bathroom also, when Max has to crash on her couch for the night because of a snowstorm. So in other words, it was referred to as a bathroom when it was needed for a scene. The rest of the time, it was a closet. We get a really good look at that closet area when Lorelai hides all of Rory's memories of Dean in a box at the bottom. You can see that there is no room on either side for another door that could lead to a bathroom, and believe me, I wanted there to be. Another clue that there's only the one bathroom and it's upstairs is in that same episode where the guests from the Independence Inn stay at Lorelai's. One of the guests, whose bedroom is downstairs in Rory's room, comes down from the upstairs mentioning that there's no toothpaste up there. In other words, he had to go upstairs to brush his teeth in the bathroom. This suggests that there's no bathroom on the main floor. However, in the overhead, you can see that there's a large leftover space that has enough room for a bathroom and/or a laundry room. However, you would only be able to get to that space from the outside. There's no door under the stairs, there's no door along the kitchen wall either that could lead to this space. So you would have to go outside. We do see Lorelai head out this door to do a load of laundry, so that's possible. But when Lorelai goes out onto what is supposed to be the back porch, when she catches Jess drinking a beer, we get a good look at the area, no signs of a washer or dryer. And we know what the inside of their garage looks like, and there's nothing there. So if a laundry room does exist, and they go out this door to get to it, the best bet is here. But I highly doubt they would go outside to enter the bathroom. But please leave your ideas in the comments of where you think there could have been a door to another bathroom on the main floor. Maybe an idea will hit you when we take the full tour coming up next. If you're curious just how I make these tours, you can catch all the behind-the-scenes action on my Patreon page. Patreon members get to suggest the Easter eggs for tours, but they also get to give other input, get the first looks at all of the tours on their own without any narration. And as I discover fun facts along the way, so do they, and so much more. All for just $5 a month. I'll put the link to my Patreon account below. We'll tour the entire main floor now, entering from their front yard. At the end, I'll reveal all of the Easter eggs and give the home stats, both square feet and cost in today's dollars. What made the Gilmore Girls so appealing? Of all the shows I've watched over the years, this one, above all the rest, gives me the most homey, warm, wrapped in a blanket feeling that can only be described as like a type of comfort food. Who wouldn't want to live in Stars Hollow? A town that we know logically is only fictional, but we wish so badly it was real. Where somehow, almost magically, autumn is always in the air. It makes you want to put on a sweater and drink a cup of hot cider. With picnic auctions, dance marathons, snowman contests, firelight festivals, Revolutionary War enactments, and movie nights in the square, just to name a few. And town hall meetings that are so entertaining that Lorelai and Rory wouldn't even think of missing them, even bringing popcorn and snacks to enjoy the show. And all the quirky characters belong there with all their flaws, somehow rendered endearing. Chain-smoking gossip connoisseur Miss Patty, sassy little Babette with her Brooklyn accent, awkward Kirk and his never-ending quest for steady employment, Michel with his biting French sarcasm, and upbeat Suki. We can only dream of tasting one of her gourmet dishes. Baseball-capped Luke serving up coffee, cheeseburgers, and unsolicited advice in his diner. And of course, Lorelai, the fast-talking, impulsive, quick-witted, coffee-addicted, junk food-eating mom. We question some of her decisions, but never her commitment to her daughter. And Rory, the old soul, ambitious but kind student, following, as Carole King suggests in the theme song, wherever her mother leads her. The town and the characters were straight out of a Hallmark movie, but somehow even homier, funnier, and more enticing. Maybe when they create a place like Stars Hollow that feels so real, in your mind, in your imagination, in your longing for it, in a way, it actually does become real, even if it's only in an aspirational kind of way. I guess what I'm trying to say is they made something that feels very real to me, giving me a wispy kind of hope that a place like that actually could exist, or maybe does exist, somewhere. And now the Easter egg reveal. Paul Anka, the dog, and the man from a dream sequence of Lorelai's, suggested by Patreon member Kitty. Young pictures of the cast on the mantle. The scary clown pillow was by a window in the living room. A TV guide with Lauren and Alexis, aka Lorelai and Rory, on the front. And of course, some of their favorite snacks and treats around the house. What TV or movie home tour would you like to see next? Let me know in the comments. But as for today, that's a wrap. See you next time on Behind the Scenes.